Hello, my name is Fred and I'm with Darwin Plants by Cable, and we are the bare root supplier for ball seed and star roses and plants, and all the bare roots come out of the Netherlands. Just want to talk to you about the handling of bare root. The purpose of this video is to give you some information on that. Darwin Perennials asked me to make a 5-minute video on how to handle bare root and how to grow bare root. 5 minutes is not enough, but I can give you all the general information that you need to be successful with bare roots. So that's the purpose of this video. And there's a lot of customers that always ask me this question. They say, why do I need bare root and why do I use bare root? It's very simple. There's three main reasons why you should use bare root, or you can use bare root. And number one is it's a very strong plant and it has a lot of energy. As you can see, there's roots, there's an eye, and there's so much energy in these roots that they will perform and that they will grow nicely the first year because of the energy in the roots. Then secondly, all the roots are vernalized, which means that they will bloom the first year. That's a plus because not all the perennials in other forms will bloom the first year. Bare root perennials will do that. And third, which is also very important, the variety range for bare root perennials is huge. We have over 1,000 varieties in our catalog, so that's a lot of varieties that you can never find in any other form of perennials. Bare root can provide you with smaller quantities and with larger quantities. So those are just 3 examples of why bare root is so important to use. Then one thing about handling bags and boxes. As soon as bags and boxes arrive at your warehouse or at your greenhouse or nursery, then there's a couple of things you need to do. First of all, if you get bags of 25 or 10, mostly those are frozen. So what do you do if they're frozen? You open the bags and you just leave them like this so that they can breathe, and within the next 12 to 24 hours they will not be frozen again, so then you can start planting the roots. Never plant a root that is still frozen. So that is the bag. So, and if you receive a box you open like this, open up the plastic and just leave the box as it is like this, and again within 12 to 36 hours plants will not be frozen anymore, and you can start taking them out of the box and you can start planting them. So, where do you plant your bare root? In most cases, people do plant bare root in a hoop house or a plastic house where there's no heating, or there's such heating that it can be above freezing, so the plants will not freeze again. That's the best to use. Normally, bare root plants are planted somewhat from January until late April, depending where you are in the country. So this means that if you plant in a hoop house, it's still cool and fresh when they're planted, and plants are very dormant. So the environment that you plant them in a cold frame should be cool, but it needs ventilation. That is very important to know. If there's no ventilation, then you might end up into some issues with your crop later on. The next thing I would like to show you is how to plant a bare root, because it's very, very important that this is done correctly. If you do not do this right, then you will end up with a bad crop in the end. So it is very important that it's done properly. Just to give you an example on how not to do it. For example, this one over here, as you can see, the crown and the eyes are above the soil. So as soon as it warms up, then the crown and the eyes will start to dry out, and eventually you will not get flowers and you will not get growth on your plants at all. So this is not the right way to do it. The other way of not doing it right is if you plant them too deep. You see this small hosta, and it's planted at least 3 inches below the soil level. So it takes too much strength from the plant to come out of that soil, and it's very easy in the early stages of the season, when it's still cool, that the eyes and the crown start rotting. So the best way of planting is this way. So the crown and the eyes are on soil level or just below soil level. Very important to do that. So as soon as you've planted the perennial, the root, then you plant it below soil level, because you have to water it one time. After watering, you will see that the soil level will be lower than after just planting. That's because of the watering, it's more heavy. Then usually this is what happens again. So you don't want that. So you plant it below soil level, that after watering you should be able to see, or just with soil level, some ice, and the crown is a little bit below soil level. That is the perfect way to do it. If during the season, after a couple of weeks, you see that the soil level has been going down again, so that you end up with this again, just add some soil to it. There's different sizes of roots, of course. You have hostas, you got hemerocallis, you got dicentra, which is a little bit bigger. So sometimes you need to use different size pots to plant your plants. Peonies, for example, is planted in a bigger pot and is done like this. So you can see the top of the root just with soil level after watering, and the eyes and the crown is a little bit below soil level. This is the perfect way of planting them. So what are the biggest mistakes you can do with planting? So first of all, planting too high or planting too deep, which will be a big problem. In general, plants are dormant, and you plant in January, February, March, maybe in April, depending on where you are in the country. So if it's still cool and the plants are dormant and they're not active yet, which is totally normal at that time of the year, it takes a while before they start actually growing in the container. So if they're still dormant and you keep watering them, then they get into trouble too. So the two biggest issues is planting too high or too deep, and the second one is overwatering. After planting, you water them one time, then you wait, you put them in a greenhouse or in a hoop house until they start emerging. As soon as they start emerging, which can take 10 days, 2 weeks, maybe even a little bit longer, after emerging, you can start watering again. Every time you water after planting, just because you don't see anything emerging, then that means that you will fill the crown and the eyes with water. This will make sure that they start rotting too fast. So very important, do not overwater and do not plant too deep or too high. If you need more information on all of this, because 5 minutes is too short to give you more information than just general information, but if you want specific information on varieties, on certain genus, how to handle them, you can always connect with us. And if you need your information, the general information I just gave you, this is our Beirut catalog, and you will find all the information that I just gave you in here too, because there's cultural information in there. But again, if you need more specific information, just give us a call or just send us an email. We're always there to help you. Thank you very much, and happy planting.